Hey guys, welcome back to Hack It Out. We've got another movie review for you today, and this one is kind of interesting. It's a little different than movies I usually review, and that's because I'm reviewing the movie It. Now, I am not a fan of horror movies. I never really have been. There are some here and there that I like and I enjoy, but I'm not one of those really avid horror movie watchers or anything like that. And I've certainly I've never really been like a Stephen King person. I've never read any of his books. I've seen a couple of the movies that are based off of his works, and they've been fine, but I've never been like a gung-ho Stephen King fanatic. So when It was first, announced, and then the trailers and stuff came out, it wasn't something that I was really excited to go see, that I had planned to go see. I'd never seen the 1990 miniseries with Tim Curry. I mean, I know enough about it. I've seen little bits and pieces of it just in pop culture, things here and there. And I do like Tim Curry, but I've never really just been really gung-ho for it. But I don't know if you have listened to our episode 26 of the Hack It Out podcast, which I'm going to put a card right up here. If you have not listened to it, go ahead and listen to it. I had a guest, Tynan, on there, and he is a big fan of Stephen King, and he loves It. He's read the book, seen the miniseries, all this stuff. He's been a huge fan, and he basically convinced me to go watch it. He thought that regardless if I was a fan of Stephen King or horror movies or not, that it was a good enough movie that he just said nothing but praise on it. And there's been a lot of praise about the movie in general as well. So I thought, okay, I'll suck it up and I'll go give it a shot. And I'm glad I did because I really enjoyed it. I'm not going to give off any spoilers or anything like that. But the movie is basically just about this entity known as Pennywise, which most people probably know of. When you think of It, you think of the clown. And he, comes to this town of Derry, Maine, basically every 27 years or so to terrorize the town, basically terrorize children. And so this movie is about this group of kids who all these things are happening to, and the group of kids are just amazing. The actors are phenomenal. They did a great job, had really good chemistry. There's a couple of the actors that I've seen in other things before, and so I knew they were going to do really well. And then a good chunk of them, thanks to this movie, they're probably really going to skyrocket their careers. And so I can't wait to see what they're going to do, in the future, because they are a really great group of young people, and they're going to probably have some great careers, or at least they could, because of this movie. But no, It was not like your classic horror movie where it's just jump scare after jump scare after jump scare just for the sake of it, really cliche or anything like that. Again, like I said, I've never read the book. Since watching this movie, I have actually started the book now because I am interested. But there are jump scares, of course. That is kind of what you can expect from something in the horror genre. But what I mean is that it's not just jump scare for the sake of just scaring you. Like, everything in this movie has a purpose and has a meaning. And the movie invokes so many different emotions. It's sad when it needs to be sad. It's funny and hilarious when it needs to be. It is terrifying when it needs to be. There are just so many layers to it and so many layers to these characters. And, everybody just did a great job. The movie was really well done, and I know it hit the top marks of a lot of people's expectations. Nobody expected it to be probably nearly as good as it was, and as it is. I mean, it's still in the theaters. It's only been out for like a week now. But there's really not a whole lot. I mean, I want to kind of keep this concise. There's really not a whole lot I want to say about it, or how much, not a lot that I want to ramble about, other than the fact that the cast was great. I really enjoyed the story. It kept me intrigued, and like I said, intrigued enough to want to go read the book. And now I'm really interested to see how they're going to portray the next one, because It is all about going back and forth between these lives of these kids when they're young and when they're older as adults. And so this first movie is them as kids, and the next movie is going to be them as adults. So I'm really interested to see how all this is going to play out. But it was definitely really good. I really enjoyed it. I didn't expect that I would as much because I'm not a horror movie fan. But I stayed engaged through the whole thing. There wasn't really any dull moments. Everything was paced and sprinkled throughout just enough that There wasn't any real moments for you to get bored with. Like as soon as you thought something was maybe starting to slow down, then something crazy would happen. And, it really had good momentum all throughout the movie, in my opinion. So with that, I'm going to give it an A. I really liked it. I thought it was really well done. And I can't really say anything else about it other than if you enjoy Stephen King, if you enjoyed the 90s miniseries, if you enjoy horror movies, I don't see any reason why you're not going to enjoy this movie. Now, if you're not a horror movie fan, if you don't like Stephen King stuff, if you don't like, things with violence or cursing or anything like that, you're probably not going to like it. But if you just like good movies and good stories and just good acting and you're willing to just try something new, go see it and you might surprise yourself just like I did. So anyway, if you guys like this review, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.